Yes, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're listening around the world. We are back. Welcome back to the channel. It's myself and Lee Judges and a great guest tonight. It's been too long, Mr. Graham Brooks. Graham, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, mate. It's great to be back. Haven't done this for a while, but looking forward to it tonight.
Yeah, big time, man. I thought let's just reach out to Graham and see who he is. I did reach out to Adrian as well. His little boy's not well, bless him. I'm sure he's watching, so big up to you, and I hope he gets well very soon.
Big up, Charlie. Big up, Charlie.
Big up. Absolutely, big up to Charlie. Look, I don't know if we've dried off yet, chaps, because yesterday was a bit wet and it's been windy and miserable today as well. A little bit sunnier where I was today in Essex. I don't know what it's been like with you boys, but I went and watched my nephew play football, and my God, I think I was more cold then than I was yesterday. Because although yesterday was wet, I didn't actually think it was that cold. I mean, maybe I just wrapped up pretty well, but I wasn't actually freezing. But one thing that wasn't wet and miserable was Arsenal. I thought the Arsenal were brilliant yesterday, I've got to say. And normally I ask Lee how things were and yourself, Graham, but I'm going to start because I haven't been too positive of late, which might shock some people. But there's nothing I could be negative about yesterday, gentlemen. It was absolutely superb. And I must say, one thing I disagree with, actually, from what I've heard, is that Martin Odegaard's back, so Arsenal are back. As much as I think that helped, I think we changed things up so much more than just putting Martin Odegaard back in the side. I thought we was much more free-flowing. I thought we were great to watch going forward. I thought defensively we looked solid. I thought we were definitely one of these attacking sides that we've actually been seeing for quite some time now in terms of, we haven't been seeing, should I say, for quite some time now. I thought Odegaard and Saka were electric. I thought Timber was superb. But in fact, the whole that right-hand side was brilliant. But actually, Marino and Calafiori had a good game as well. And I must say that Marino, I haven't really seen much from him yet, if I'm honest with you, but I was really impressed with him yesterday. And I kind of went through every single player when I did my fan cam on my channel and thought, yeah, everyone was all right. Yeah, Trossard was probably one of the quieter players and Jesus was probably one of the quieter players, but I actually thought Jorginho was great in the first half. Then I thought Partey was as good, if not better, in the second half. I looked at Saliba's performance when needed. He was absolute mustard. Raya, I thought, when someone's had a clean sheet, they deserve a lot of praise for keeping a clean sheet. But if I'm honest with you, I thought he was really good with his distribution and how he played out from the back yesterday again. So I find myself, guys, going through every single player thinking played well, yeah, really good. But we have to really talk about Martin Odegaard's performance yesterday. I'll start with you, Lee, because I thought he was outstanding. Everything that he did was beautiful to watch. Every weighted pass, the vision, the creativity, the little bit of spark, technical flair. It was a beautiful performance. And I thought he played well in the second half against Chelsea in particular. But I was so impressed from minute one until the minute that he was subbed yesterday. And I do think we are a better side with him in it. But I actually don't feel like we missed Havertz yesterday. And it wasn't because Jesus was brilliant, because I thought he was one of the weaker players, right? But I will say this. I just felt a little more fluid without Kai Havertz there. And I don't want to start slating Kai Havertz. I think he's got an unbelievable place in this side, in this squad. But I just think it proves that we don't need a big lump up top the whole time, that we can actually play it on the ground and we can actually create without trying to fling it into Havertz's chest the whole time. So I thought there was a lot of positives to take from yesterday, Lee.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that because of Odegaard in the team, it just gives you so many different ways to skin a cat, doesn't it? And that's what I think that happened yesterday. What's impressed me more about him, and I thought, wow, it's going to take him 2 or 3 games to get back into his stride or whatever. Basically, he's come back like he's not been away, and that is unbelievable. To be at that level with that sort of intensity. And I thought yesterday, listen, people will say, it's only Nottingham Forest. This is a team, by the way, that's gone away from home to 3 of the top 4 teams so far this season. They've beaten Liverpool away. They've drawn with Chelsea away. They're no mugs. We absolutely wiped the floor of them yesterday. They didn't really look like competing and all that. That's the Arsenal that we want to see. That's the Arsenal that we've missed for quite a bit of this season, to be honest. So for me, I think that he was much of that. What I think that he done yesterday, and what I noticed yesterday is that, if you want to put 2 men on Saka, then you do it. That's fine. You can do that there. But then you're letting Odegaard go free, a little bit free. If you start putting 1-on-1 on Odegaard, then you're letting Saka go licensed 1-on-1 with a defender. Look what he done in that first half. Was sensational. So I think with Odegaard been on the field, it also releases a little bit of license for Saka, because they cannot get double up. And sometimes this season they've trebled up on him. But because he's out there and doing that, there was one time I didn't, maybe not have noticed it on the field or even on TV. He just drifted out wide, Odegaard, and it just meant that the defender went with him, and it meant then that the ball was on to Saka, and they played. I think it was Jorginho that played into Saka, and Saka 1-on-1 with their left back and going at it at pace. And if you then cover it, the centre half comes over. Someone like Jesus was having a little bit of space. And I thought Jesus played well yesterday. I thought we done okay. I felt that there was a couple of. It didn't look like scoring. I know, I'll give you that. But there was some of his interplay and all that was very, very good, and worked very, very hard for the team like they all did. I actually think yesterday no one played bad. And I mean that from the substitutions that come on. I thought Shinchenko give us a little bit more life going forward when he come on. I thought Thomas Partey coming on was brilliant. I also think that, we know when Nwaneri come on, he was sensational. But I also thought Sterling had a good little cameo when he come on as well, like created the third goal, looked sharp when he come on. So that's what you wanted from the whole team. I just thought, excuse me, it was a performance, guys, that we needed. I think that we've been lacking a little bit of confidence how good we've been. And I felt that yesterday we got the performance and we also got the win. And I've got a frog in my throat. What's going on? And I felt all round it was a very, very good performance. But Odegaard yesterday, I was watching him yesterday, boys, and I was thinking to myself, I wish I was that good as a footballer. I wish I could play like that. You know what I mean? Like, it just some of his touches, the way he manipulates the ball past people and around people and all that, like, makes it look so easy. The little layoff pass to Saka. I know Saka had to do immense stuff after that, but it was just lovely to see. And I just thought it was an all-round good performance, and it was one that was needed. I've come away. I wasn't really looking forward to the game yesterday, but now I'm looking forward to Lisbon. I'm looking forward to West Ham now, because I felt that we was really, really playing well today. We've back to our not absolute best, because we've got players. We didn't have Rice, as you said, playing today, nor Havertz. I think Havertz will still make a difference when he comes back. But I get what you're saying there. The free flowing football today was really good. That's without Martinelli as well. So some big players still to come back into the team. And I also got to say this. I know that Arteta took a lot of criticism over the last few weeks, and rightly so. But I thought he got everything spot on yesterday. Everything from team selection, which was dodgy. You know what I mean?
I haven't got to lie, Lee. I was at the concourse. And I was with a few of the boys, and they went, "Our season could be over." And I know that's not a defeated atmosphere, a defeated attitude, should I say? But I did feel deflated when I saw that team. I thought,
yes, no, I'm not going to lie. I'm with you. I was with you. I'm with you. I was worried.
Yeah, I was worried. And Nathan in the chat said, Dan, you predicted a Forest win. No, I did not, actually. I said that we would draw the game. And I thought that we might have bloody lost it when I saw that team come out. But fair play to Mikel Arteta. Graham, let's come to you, because, you see things fantastically in terms of your tactics analysis. And I look at where and how you read a game of football is phenomenal. And I'm really interested to see what you saw change in this Arsenal setup, because for me, I thought it was a joy to watch. And I haven't said that many times this season so far. So what changed for you in a positive note, bro?
I think this is probably our best performance of the season, Dan. I do think that. The improvement in this game was reflected in the stats, particularly the first half. I thought the first half, everything that you wanted from an Arsenal team in that match. We controlled space, we controlled tempo, we dominated territory, we dominated dangerous positions. Let me just hit you a few stats here in that first half. We had 11 shots to their 2, 73% possession to their 27. Field tilt 81%. I know Lee's loving this. Deep touches 41-5. Progressive passes 34-2. Touches in the final third 50-2. And high possession starts 6. Our shots in this game were 19 to our season average of 13. Our shots allowed were 7 over the season. It's been 13. So we've improved offensively, we've improved defensively. And I thought what he went for yesterday in team selection, and I was like Dan, like you, Dan, and probably like Lee and like all your mates in the concourse. I looked at the starting 11 and I was fit. I was worried about it because this could have been a potential banana skin for us, because I think Nottingham Forest have got the way they played this year. They're set up to take advantage of all our mistakes. The way they play, they're sort of a team that they've got two physical centre halves who defend the box well. They've got midfield terriers who work hard to win the ball back. And then they've got wide players who are very good in transition, Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. So I thought we took care of them really well yesterday. And I thought the real architect was obviously Odegaard, but I'll tell you someone who I thought made a difference, and that was Jorginho. I thought Jorginho, which was a surprise selection for me. I didn't see him starting, and that's his first start of the season. But I thought he controlled the tempo of the game really well in that first half. And obviously he was hooked at half time because he was on a card. And I think the reason why he was taken off was because Arteta, obviously the discipline at the moment with players getting sent off, I think he's worried about us losing another player. So he took him off. But the one thing he does really well is he gets the ball forward quicker than I think than probably Partey or Rice. I'm not saying he's a better player than Partey or Rice, but he gets the ball quicker into the attacking areas. So those attacking players, the number of times I saw Ozil there, Odegaard or Saka getting the ball quickly in areas where they could attack. And that came because Jorginho was, I think, threading the ball through forward passing quickly. And I think, overall, I just thought that we moved the ball quicker and we pinned them back. I think they were a bit passive in midfield. I didn't think that they pressed us that much. So I thought they were more passive than I thought they would be. They obviously were missing Chris Wood up front. Chris Wood obviously has been scoring goals for them because obviously he'd come back from international duty. So he went with a more physical striker who I thought Saliba dealt with really well, actually, because I thought he marked him. And obviously they were without Gibbs White. Gibbs White's a good player for them. So they had a couple of key players missing. But for all that, they defended really well. But I think Lee's nailed it. I think it's Odegaard who made the difference. And what I mean by that was, I think he makes every player on the pitch look better, Dan. Every player we've got look better.
Yep.
He's the heartbeat of the team for me, basically. And basically what I like about him, he just sort of goes into spaces on the pitch and he just takes control of everything. And he goes places where he can't be pressed, and he basically able to orchestrate play. He's like our conductor. That's what I feel. And I think he was the main reason yesterday why we should have been more than one up at half time. And in the end, a comfortable win.
Massive win, one we needed.
I'm just losing the plot here. Like, you know what I mean, like, it's just, I'm watching the NFL, right? Washington is my team, and they need a touchdown with seconds to go, and they've only got it against Dallas Cowboys, which is like Arsenal versus Spurs, right? Yeah, they've only gone and got it, right? So they need a point now just to convert the kick. And the prick has just missed it, like, you know what I mean? Which is lost the game. And I can't believe it, you know what I mean? And we've actually lost the game because we didn't convert a free kick, like, you know what I mean? I can't stand this team. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like,
this is why I don't watch it. Arsenal is bad enough, Johnny. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal's bad enough, mate.
I've just gone mad. He's picked it ball up. He's gone 80 yards run to get a touchdown with the last kick of the game, like virtually the last play of the game. And then we've not converted it, like, you know what I mean? I don't believe what I've seen.
While he's lamenting his American football team, I'll just add one other point, Dan. And I just thought the other thing that I noticed yesterday was what really improved the team was the fact that we're now back to that back four who were imperious against PSG.
You know what? I'm with you, 100% with you.
Timber on the right, who was overlapping Saka, and that triangle of Timber, Saka and Odegaard, which was brilliant, and Calafiori on the left. Now, what they do is they're really good, and they took care of their wide men really well yesterday. I mean, Timber, what a physical player he is, you know. And Calafiori, I just love the way he just roams. He literally just roams, and he goes inside, and that creates the space for the wide players. So I think those two players, it's probably Odegaard's rightly got the praise, and everyone was praising Saka for his goal and his performance, but I don't let us not pretend that having these two guys back in the fullback positions really helped the team yesterday.
Do you know what, Graham? You're spot on. This comments just made me laugh. Carol thinks you're watching burglars outside on a camera, judges. I gotta be real.
It's just gone and got another touchdown, Dallas. You know what I mean? Like it's just unbelievable.
Honestly, mate, do not watch it. Take yourself away.
And if you do watch it, do not follow Washington. Just do not follow them. You have a good life if you don't follow them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, because they've just lost a game that they should have won. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day. It's unbelievable. Like they are the Spurs of NFL. They really are. Like, you know what I mean? It's unreal.
No, don't go down the route of Spurs.
No,
don't go down the route of Spurs.
Like, yeah.
Look, I'm with you, Graham. I'm going to make a statement which a lot of people might not like. Ben White's one of my favourites. I love Ben White. I think he's brilliant with his shit hours. I think he's been phenomenal for Arsenal for the last couple of seasons. But I use the eye test, and I think Timber's better. Sorry, I've seen enough to know that Timber is a better right back than Ben White. He has got absolutely everything that I want in a fullback and more. And I know he's played brilliant left back, but at right back, my God, he is an absolute machine, man. This guy is so good. It is crazy. And people aren't going to like me, the Ben White lovers. I'm a Ben White lover, but Timber's just better. He's just more athletic. He's got more athleticism. He's got more about his game. I think he definitely looks more of a threat down the right. I love the fact that Ben White overlaps and he's got good telepathy with Saka. But I thought yesterday's performance, he was just unbelievable. And if I'm honest with you, I'm starting to run out of when Timber had a bad game for Arsenal. I don't think there's any bad games Timber's had right back or left back for us. I think he's been absolutely outstanding. I just think it has to be said. I think Calafiori yesterday definitely looked the part. And I've been kind of questioning his positioning, if I'm honest with you, over the last few games where he had played. I thought he was immense yesterday, and I love the fact he's on the ball. I'm with you. I just think sometimes you've got to look at the eye test and just know that this Timber kid is serious, mate. He's a serious player, and I was really, really impressed. But I'm going to bring in this super chat to you, Lee, right? Because this is really interesting. The midfield yesterday I was a bit like, meh, what the hell is going to happen here? But Sue just made a really good point with a super chat. It's just a thought. It goes against most. Are we actually better without Declan Rice? It almost feels like everything is forced just to play Rice. My opinion, the best free flowing we played was in 22-23 before Declan Rice. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, not because I'm agreeing with it or disagreeing with it, I think it's a really good question because a lot of the times that I've spoken about the midfield, it has been with Rice in the six that I like it. When Rice is not in the six, ain't really a fan. I ain't going to lie to you. And I think he's a six. Now, Partey and Jorginho, I thought yesterday were brilliant, and Partey's been our best midfielder this season. So it is at the moment a little bit of a question mark, and there's a lot of rumours suggesting that Arteta is still not quite happy with the balance of this midfield. I think we're brilliant with Declan Rice. Last season, I saw it. We were absolutely mustard with him in it. But I think it's a good question now. What is the best midfield that we've got? Because there's quite sort of a lot of split opinions on this one, man. So how would you answer this super chat, bro?
Well, how I'd answer is I'd say, where was you from January to May last year? That's what I would. That's the first thing I'd like to say because Declan Rice was absolutely unbelievable. You know, I don't think that Declan Rice has nowhere near hit the form of this season, of last season. The reason being, I think that he's knackered. I think this rest is doing him the world of good. I wouldn't even play him on Tuesday. I'll be honest. I'd keep the midfield the same. Maybe Partey coming in or Jorginho. I was actually impressed with Jorginho yesterday. I thought I'm with Graham on that. I thought his first 45 minutes was brilliant. The only reason he come off was because that booking. Because in midfield you might have to make a tackle on whatever, like where you can get away with it a little bit if you're like Jesus and Saka up top. But I thought he was immense in there. Listen. I think I'm going to have this argument with Declan Rice. So I think he's very good in the six, but I think that he's very, very good in the eight. I really do. The box to box. I actually like him in the box to box. I actually would prefer it if he was more on the right-hand side of it. But, you know, you've got Odegaard that takes up that right-hand side. But for me, no one was questioning. It's a funny old thing with Arsenal at times, fans and whatever. No one was questioning Declan Rice last season. Everybody was going, we've got him on the cheap and everything like that. And all of a sudden now, he's not good enough. Mourinho had a good game yesterday. He had a good game, but he had a better game than than Declan Rice last season. No, you know what I mean? I thought Rice was absolutely unbelievable for his first season at Arsenal. It was unbelievable. I don't think that he's hit the heights of this season. I'll be really honest. He hasn't, and we have to accept that. But I think we've got a player that can play equally as well at central holding midfield or the eight. I really do. I think that he's a bargain because he's a player that can play both positions and both very, very well. And what was great about yesterday is we didn't miss Declan Rice. I think that's the biggest compliment you can give anybody. You know, so much so, let him have another week off if his toe's not fit. That's the biggest compliment. And that is the biggest thing for me yesterday. The players that come in steps up. Just going back to Timber yesterday, he's a better right back than he is left back. First and foremost, I thought his performance yesterday was, you know, I'm
so impressive, wasn't it?
It was impressive, but I'm not going to forget how impressive Ben White was for us over the last couple of seasons. But you know that it was as good as performance that I've seen from a right back, and also what it does do is, you know, what I mean, I quite like that now that we've got two players there that, you know, well, I don't know who I'm going to play, but the standard would be incredible, absolutely incredible on both. Like, you know what I mean? And if Ben White doesn't think, if he thinks he's got it easy there, he hasn't. That is incredible. And if I'm Ben White, I wouldn't be thinking, oh, that's all right because Timber can go on the left, because Calafiori done very, very well yesterday when he came on, like, you know what I mean, when he started. I thought, again, considering he's been out for 3 or 4 weeks, that was as good a solid performance that you could ask for from there, like, you know. And their wide players have been dangerous for them all season, you know what I mean? Like, but this time around they weren't, and I think we've got to take a lot of credit for that, like, you know. But for me, one of the greatest things about that midfield yesterday is that Jorginho come out of it after he played very, very well. Thomas Partey come on and probably shaded it over Jorginho's first half performance with the goal and everything like that. And then you look at it and you think, wow, like, you know, then you're bringing on Nwaneri for Odegaard, and the drop-off didn't drop. And I think that's the biggest compliment we can get. Like, now, listen, when fit, Declan Rice plays in this Arsenal team. I don't care what anybody says, like, you know. What position? Well, that's up.
What would you play, Lee? Where everyone's fit, you've got to pick a best team tomorrow, best midfield tomorrow.
My best midfield would be Thomas Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. That would be my three. Okay. That would be my three.
That's interesting because, you know, I think we've got some options there now. Like, Graham, I'll throw it to you. I've got 2 questions. I wanted you to talk to me about Marino's performance yesterday and what you make of him, because I thought he come on against Chelsea and looked a lot better, and I thought he was really good yesterday, I've got to say. What does the future of this midfield look like to you, do you think, under Mikel Arteta, Graham?
I think the future of the midfield will be Rice at 6, Mourinho left-sided 8, and Odegaard right-sided 8. I think that's where he's gravitating to. That's where it's going. Whether people Partey, and I know a lot of people, a lot of Thomas Partey lovers. I love Thomas Partey. He's been really brilliant this year, wherever we played him. But I think that's the midfield that he's going to move to, Mikel Arteta. Rice will be at 6. Mourinho at 8 because he's left-footed. And basically, remember Xhaka played that role 2 years ago when we were free-flowing. That the Super Chat guy said Xhaka was in the 8, Partey was at 6, and Odegaard was on the other side. So I think Mourinho, the cameo at Chelsea was everything that I think Arteta wants him to be. He's able to sort of take the ball on the half turn, to play through the press, and get the ball quickly with his left foot out to the left side. That's what he does. He's also very good in duels, and he arrives in the box, and he's good at arriving in the box, and like he did against Liverpool, headers and things like that. So I thought his performance, I don't quite agree with you, Dan. I thought his performance was okay yesterday, but I didn't think he had a great game. He was all right. I didn't think he had a great game. I thought he was better against Chelsea. I thought he was good against Liverpool. So, but I think there's a player there, and I think that's Arteta's bought him to play on that left side for the reasons I said, to improve the flow of the rotations and the dynamics of getting the ball quickly out to that left-hand side to Martinelli, or whoever's playing on that left-hand side. I think going back to the original question, 22-23, we have to remember we were more free-flowing, but you have to understand why we bought Declan Rice, because we were shipping more goals. If you think at the back end of the season when we fell away in the last 10, we were shipping 3 to Southampton, 2 at Liverpool, 2 at West Ham. We were shipping loads of goals, weren't we? So he
3 at
wanted
Brighton as well.
yeah, so and goals at Brighton. So he basically wanted a. And that's the reason why he shook it up. I think he wanted to make us more solid. And I think the one thing that Rice offers us in the 6 is the ability to recover the space quickly, interceptions, and that's his ability at 6. Lee's right. We have been playing a left-sided 8, and I thought Lee's right again. That last season, the second half of the season, he was outstanding in that position, absolutely outstanding. And I think Lee's right again. I'm agreeing with Lee on everything tonight. I'm getting worried. But basically, he's come back. He hasn't been as good this year. I think it's because he's played so much football, the Euros, and I think he's suffered. I think he hasn't quite been the same player yet. And I think a lot of players have struggled, not just Declan Rice. A lot of players who played a lot of football haven't quite hit the heights this season. It's because we're literally running these players into the ground with the amount of football they're playing. And on top of that, look at the schedule this year, this new Champions League format. They're playing high intense games every 3 days, aren't they? So that's the reason why. But going back to the question, I think I love the midfield of Partey, Rice and Odegaard. That's the midfield I love. But I think the midfield will be Rice, Mourinho and Odegaard.
It's going to be... Yeah, I think Graham's right, and I do think that's why Mourinho's been brought in. We haven't really got the left 8 position correct yet, in my opinion, and I've seen enough from Mourinho to believe that he's getting better, but I've still not seen enough to think that he's the absolute must there. And I don't think Rice is great there, but me and Kenny have this conversation on my channel quite a lot. Kenny thinks he's a number 8. I think he's a number 6. I think Arteta believes he's a number 6, but he has been playing him in the 8 at the moment just because Partey's been so good and we've had injuries there. But I think long-term, Graham's right. I think Rice, Mourinho, Odegaard is what I think he sees the future. I think Thomas Partey's even amazed Mikel Arteta at how fit he's been and reliable he's been so far. And, Thomas Partey, when he didn't start yesterday, I thought, here we go. We're going to see more injuries now. But actually, he come on and I thought he was phenomenal. Not just the goal he scored, but the referee did the best to get in the way off, by the way. But I thought he was fantastic, Thomas Partey, yesterday. So I think that deserves a mention. Saka, I think we've mentioned. The right-hand side we've mentioned. But I think the player that everyone was talking about yesterday was Ethan. Because when Ethan Nwaneri come on, along with Sterling, who I like, Lee said, I think fair play, come on in a cameo and got a good assist there. But Ethan Nwaneri at the moment is proving Mikel Arteta a little bit wrong in terms of, why haven't you started me more? Why haven't you brought me on more? And I look back at his performances, judges, right? He came on, he started the game at Bolton and he got a brace. And everyone was like, best player on the pitch. And people, to start with, particularly rival fans, said, Nwaneri's got 2 goals against Bolton, woohoo. But actually, Rice was playing that day and he was head and shoulders better than him. Saka started that game, which people forget. He was head and shoulders better than him. He's better than Sterling. He was better than Jesus, right? Nwaneri got a brace. He scored against Preston, stuck 1 top bins, right? He's come on now against Leicester at 2-2, lifted us. We actually ended up winning the game 4-2. Came on against Bournemouth where we were 2-0 down and absolutely done and dusted. But he actually lifted us and gave us something that we were missing throughout the whole of that game. And then since then, he's now come on and proven why we should have been starting him more. He came on at the San Siro and he did one thing, which was probably one of the best things we did positively. He dropped the shoulder, he rolled his guy and he stuck it up. I unfortunately went over the bar. And yesterday when he came on, he lifted the crowd because he dummied the player and he just put it wide. And then he came on and created and then he scored. I think we need to start using this guy more because I'm looking now at the bench judges thinking he's the one we got to bring on. I'd rather put him on ahead of Jesus, ahead of Trossard and Martinelli, ahead of Raheem Sterling. I'd rather bring him on ahead of Mourinho if he's on the bench. I honestly think this guy should be our number 1 sub at the moment because I think he has proven and deserves now to be rewarded for how good he's been.
Listen, I think you're dead right what you're saying there. I think the one mistake that that Mikel has made and cost us points this season is not playing him in place of Odegaard at times because I think he's the most natural player to that. It's really all right. My mate Paul sitting next to me yesterday said, I think he come on with about 10 minutes to go, maybe slightly less. It might have been slightly less. I don't know. He said, I bet he gets 2 shots off. I said, no, he won't get 2 shots off. The game's looking a little bit dead at this moment in time. So of course he does that little dummy, has a shot, and of course I get a little tap in the ribs, don't I? That's one. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and then like, you know, the goal goes in, like, you know, and he's all over me going, "Oh, I told you so, I told you so." And that's if he's doing that to people, and when he's coming on, that told me something yesterday. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, wow, you know, this is a kid that, you know, has got confidence to have shots. He's got confidence to come on a pitch and have that confidence in your ability to do what you do. It's an unbelievable thing, really, isn't it? When you think about it, like, you know, like it just come on and just said, you know what,
17, mate, 17.
I've been watching this game for 78 minutes or whatever. I've been doing my warm-ups because I see him doing his warm-ups and that, watching the game. And then when he's come on, he's gone, do you know what? I'm going to strut my stuff here. I'm going to show you how good I am. And he goes and does it without a care in the world, goes round people so easily. Like, it makes it look easy. We know it's not easy, but he drops the shoulder. He goes past players. He done it in the deep in midfield as well, not just up front. There was a time when he got to pick the ball up probably on the halfway line, dropped his shoulder, went past player, and then played it out down the left-hand side. I think he's sensational for his age. I think it's really, really good. I think that we missed a trick by not playing him on a few occasions because I just think that he is ready. Every time he comes on, he's impressed, whether it be a game against Leicester when we needed it, a game like yesterday when we needed to raise a little, the game against Spurs when you just got to keep the ball and just win as many free kicks as you can, which he did. So I just think that, and when he's played in the League Cup games and started, he's been our best player. You know.
Facts.
So he scored goals in both of those games. Now he's got his Premier League debut goal as well. I do think that he was, but he lifted. I didn't say that we needed lifting yesterday, but I felt the game just lost its little spark. I didn't think we was uncomfortable, but like, you think, you know, if they score one here, it could be a little bit dodgy or whatever, like, you know. And I think he come on and just made the game safe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, by getting the goal, but by what he was doing, just made it safe and made it a comfortable win. Like, you know, listen, I think he's a talent, and it's going to be really interesting where we're going to develop him to play. And I know time's on his side and everything like that, and probably thinking maybe 2 years before you've probably seen him as a regular player, like a player that we can really beat.
I was going to answer this because it's in the chat, but King Mo, where do you see his best position, Dan? And yeah. I'm with you, Lee. I think that's a good question.
It is a good question because I do see him as a sort of Odegaard sort of player, but he ain't going to, you know, Odegaard's, unless you're going to sell Odegaard in a couple of years' time for a massive profit, but I wouldn't want to do that. Odegaard's in his prime for the next 4 or 5 years. So where is the position that you play him? Is it in a left? Maybe he can develop into that left-sided 8 and be more of a box-to-box player. I don't know. I don't know if he's got the body to do that because he's physically very, very strong. So it will be really interesting to see where he'll end up playing.
I think you can play alongside him. Honestly, I think you can play him and Odegaard. Not in every single game, but I think you can do that and develop in there. But look, he's not getting enough minutes, in my opinion, at the moment, but he's starting to now break into it. It was really interesting, Graham, as well, hearing Arteta's press conference afterwards, talking about him now for the first time in a way that kind of felt like, yeah, he's ready. And I don't know what your thoughts are on this kid, but I think he's a real talent, Graham.
Yeah, he's a real talent, as you say. He's fearless. I think he's all those things that Lee said. In answer to your question where you could play him, if you look at the role of Martin Odegaard in the team at the moment, he's like been redefined under Arteta, not just on that left-sided 8 role. He's like the all-purpose midfielder now. He plays in all 3 phases of the pitch. So, you know, what you could do with Nwaneri is Odegaard is playing deeper at times. There's no reason why Nwaneri can't play left-sided 8, for example. Odegaard drops deeper and builds the play, and they can both arrive in attacking positions and play up high. There's no reason why they can't do that, you know. And I think, you know, it's not necessarily you should always shoehorn players into positions, because one thing we've learned watching Mikel Arteta and Arsenal over the last 2 or 3 years is, although it's a 4-3-3 formation, it's the formation is what they start with. The fluidity and the rotations and the way players arrive in certain positions on the pitch. They're not always in a 4-3-3, are they? So there's no reason why Nwaneri and Odegaard can't play in the same team. There's literally no reason. Odegaard can play slightly deeper. Nwaneri can play more forward, and they can rotate their positions as he gets more experience. I think that it was interesting to hear Arteta say yesterday he's trying to build the kid's career. That was his, as much as Lee's saying he should have been in the team. And I agree with Lee. I think there have been games where it's been crying out for Nwaneri over the last month, but he's gone with a slightly different system. He's played Trossard in the Odegaard role, or played two forwards, or he's changed the way we build up and not gone with Nwaneri as a straight Odegaard replacement. So, but I think that I don't see any reason why Nwaneri and Odegaard can't play in the same team. I think the kid's got unbelievable talent, and I think he's going to get better. But the excuse, whatever you want to call it, was he doesn't want to ruin his kid's career by bringing him in too quickly. It's like building a house. He talked about building bricks, didn't he? I don't know if you saw the press conference.
I did, yeah. It was another analogy of Arteta's, yeah.
Yeah. So, but Lee's right. When he come on yesterday, he dropped that shoulder. He went past someone. He's just sort of like, he's got it. You can just tell straight away. He feels at home in that company. He knows he's better than, well, I wouldn't say he's arrogant, though he's better than players on the pitch, but he knows he lives at that level. He can play at that level. And then the other point I want to make before you go back to Lee, Dan, is as much as I didn't want the Sterling transfer, I didn't, and I don't think it's worked at all, the Sterling transfer. No. But the one thing it has done is that Sterling's taken Nwaneri under his wing, hasn't he? If you think about that League Cup game that Lee talked about, Sterling was the one. Did you give him an assist in that game? They've been combining once or twice in games, haven't they? So I think he seems to enjoy playing with Sterling, doesn't he? When Sterling comes on, he's on. There's a nice little partnership there, when they play together. The other thing to say is this season, whenever he started for Arsenal, not just Arsenal, when he started for England under 19s, he scored in every game he started, and he's now the second youngest Arsenal player. I think Fabregas is the youngest to score in the league, isn't it? Or for Arsenal, whatever it is, second youngest. So I don't see any reason why over the next. I disagree slightly with Lee. I think he can get in this team with Odegaard in it, and they can rotate their positions. Odegaard slightly deeper, Nwaneri could play higher. They could rotate as he gets better and learns more things. I can't see why it can't be a partnership in midfield.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's opportunities for us to look at this a couple of times. Suja's come up with an entertaining one that he believes would be so entertaining, depending on the game, to put a front six: Partey, Nwaneri, Odegaard, Martinelli, Havertz, and Saka. It would be so entertaining to watch. And I think that when everybody is fit now, particularly with the team that we selected, I looked at the bench and I thought, wow. But something that was actually quite good was the fact that Rice got a rest completely, as did Havertz, as did Martinelli. Saka and Odegaard are going to be now fitter because they come off as well. And that's going to be key to Tuesday night, Lee, because that's going to be a big game. Looking towards Sporting away, that's going to be tough at Lisbon. I think it's going to be a game where everybody's going to have all eyes on Victor Gyökeres because he's balling out at the moment, and it's one that we've got to try and keep quiet. I'm a big fan of him. I would love to see us sign him in January. But I look towards that game now, and I do think that we've got more of a chance of getting something out of it because we'll feel a little bit more refreshed now that we've managed to rotate a bit at the weekend. Yeah,
it's really interesting because obviously, like Saturday, Tuesday, did he rest those players with Tuesday in mind, which was brave. It was bold. It was brave because this performance was or this result was so important. But what I think he done yesterday was he said, look, well, I might have a Champions League coming up, but this is a massive game on Saturday. And I believe in you, Jesus. I believe in you, Marino. I believe in you, Trossard. And they all reacted in the right way. I wouldn't be disappointed if it was the same team that went out again on Tuesday night. And then, then on Saturday, they'd be a lot fresher for West Ham. I've got not a problem with that, So it'll be really interesting to see what the team will be on Tuesday. Dan, I'm with you. I'm really looking forward to seeing Gyökeres, see what he's like up close and personal, if you like. I want to see what he's like against our two central defenders. I want to see if we can handle that, and I also want to see us. I'd love us to win this game, boys, but at the end of the day, I think this game here is a little bit more pressure off us because I think in the league now we can't afford to slip up. But I'm not saying we need to slip up. Do you know what I mean? Like if we got a draw in Portugal, it ain't the end of the world, but for qualification and whatever. But I think a league draw at West Ham would be. So I think this is a massive game for us on Tuesday, but I still think that the most important game is Saturday. So I'd be really interested to team selection for this. I don't know how you guys feel, but I wouldn't be disappointed at giving those boys another run out in the Champions League. I don't think he will. I think that he'll make the changes, but I think these next two games, will say a lot about our season. I know that we keep saying that, but they will, because I think team selection. I think what happened over the weekend with other results means that if we can really put a bit of pressure on. I don't know if you guys see the Liverpool game today, but Southampton, we're giving out Christmas presents as goals. What I mean? So, try and put a bit of pressure on Liverpool at this moment in time. Well, Manchester City, we don't know what's going to happen to them next week. But for me, if we can get something on Tuesday night, then go and beat West Ham, we can sit here next Sunday looking forward to the Man City Liverpool game. But I'd be really interested for the team selection on. And if he does bring back Havertz, and he does bring back Martinelli, and he does bring back Thomas Partey in there and Declan Rice, it tells me that he's really focusing on this Champions League as well. So it'd be really. I'm intrigued by these next. Two team selections, to be fair.
Well, I think this is what he'll go with. Sorry, Graham. I think this is what he'll go with. I think he'll have Havertz, Saka, and Martinelli. I think the midfield will be Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. And I think Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori will be it. I don't know what your thoughts are, Graham, but I'm with Lee. I think he will take it seriously because we've lost to Inter Milan and dropped points at Atalanta away. So we can't really afford to drop any more if we want to get in that top 8. I think we've got to win our next 4 if we want to be secured of this top 8. Maybe we can draw on Tuesday and win the other 3. But I do think we're still then risking everyone else and what they do to try and get in this top 8. And I don't want to get in this bloody playoff thing, because it means we've got to play another bloody game,
I think that will be the team. I think that I don't think he'll play for the draw on Tuesday night. I think he'll go for the win. I think what you saw over the weekend, I slightly disagree with Lee. What I think is and we criticised him for this in the past, he started to trust the squad. I think he started to trust the squad on Saturday, and he decided to go with the more technical players in like Jorginho and Jesus. I think the Jesus one slightly, I felt, was odd because you're up against 2. Did you see their centre halves? They're built like brick shithouses, weren't they? As well as that 6'8" striker. Jesus against those 2 centre halves. And I saw. Did you see that tussle between Saliba and the striker? Where the striker, he literally just pulled. He just threw Saliba off him with his physicality. So I thought what you saw at the weekend, he's trusting the squad more, and I think that's what he's done. And I think he wants to win this game in Lisbon on Tuesday, and I think that's the reason he gave Havertz a breather, because he played a lot of football. He played in the international break. He's played a lot of football, so he gave him a breather. Rice is struggling with that toe, so he wanted to give him that game out. And I think he wanted to give Martinelli a breather, because Martinelli has been really good recently. So I think they'll all come back in on Tuesday night. I think we've got a lot of games in the next 3 months. We're playing every 2 games a week, and they're high intense games. He's going to have to trust the squad, and I think that's what he demonstrated to me he did on Saturday. But I agree with you, Dan. That's the team I think he's going to go with on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think so. And if I'm honest with you, I think that's what's got to happen now. I think it's important that we get in this top 8. I know some people are saying, go with the league, but we're in a position where we've got. I mean, Sporting are second in this table, by the way, the Champions League table.
Have you looked at that Champions League table? Liverpool are top of it. It's almost like the Europa League table. The teams underneath them, isn't it? I mean, basically, it's not any of the powerhouse heavyweights of European football, is it? You got like Brest up in.
Monaco and Brest. Inter Milan, they've started to get in there now. Villa, Atalanta still in there. Do you know what I mean? Like in the top 8.
Connor, please go and make a cup of coffee, please.
Yeah, Mum's definitely not a fan of Havertz, and she's like smug now. She's like,
He's
see,
back
he doesn't
on
need
that now,
Havertz.
yeah, I mean, like Steve
Yeah.
says he wants a cup of tea and a biscuits. Can you go and get him, please?
Oh, bless her. No, I must admit, I was actually with you, so I don't think we missed Havertz at all. But I think that's a compliment to the team, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm at. But yeah, this table is a tough one.
Don't you like Havertz then?
No, we have a joke. My mum's not a fan of Havertz.
No,
Bless her.
no,
She's not a
Donna's
fan.
not a fan.
And
Donna is not a
obviously
fan.
Lee is, and Lee and my mum have a debate all the time in the chat because my mum's like, he's a squad player, not a striker that we need to win the league with, and Lee thinks he's great and loves him. So they always have a debate. You like him, Graham, though, right?
Well, I think, yeah, I like him. The reason why I like him is because, and I think Lee does forever Arsenal with James, and me and James have talked about this. He started the season really well. He scored 7 in 7, didn't he, at the Emirates? And he basically carried on his good form at the start of the season. Odegaard gets injured. Then he's been shunted out to the right-hand side. You talked about you wanted Nwaneri here. What you had a lot of the time was Havertz playing centre forward, but on the right-hand side was Saka. So he wasn't playing centre forward, and the goals dried up. So that's why his performances as a centre forward haven't been so good in the last few games, because he's been doing a job for the team on the right hand side. I think overall in 2024 he's been okay. I do agree with you. To win the league, we might need an upgrade. I do agree with that. And
that's obvious. I think you're right though in terms of his positioning, because I think Arteta has asked him to go drop deep and now go out wide. I totally agree with you, Graham. I do agree with that.
And I do agree. If we had Gokaris, I think that some people say Havertz is better than him, but I've watched him a lot. I do rate the guy. But I watched Victor Osimhen destroy Tottenham the other week, and I'm just thinking, where did that one go wrong?
I know.
he ended up going on loan to bloody Turkey, didn't he? I mean, I would love to have him up front for us, but we're shifting, we're moving away from the thing here. But I just think that on the Havertz thing, I just think he's a centre forward, not playing as a centre forward. If he's going to be the centre forward, he needs to play down the middle, not out wide on the right.
I agree with you, mate, 100%. Lee, there's a super chat that come in earlier, which is going to nicely segue us to the last section of this show, which is about Liverpool and City and this title race. And Chelsea at the moment, you got to throw them in it, if I'm honest. Rosh has said, if Liverpool win, Arteta out, no excuses. But I'll tell you this now, Liverpool beat Manchester City next weekend at Anfield. I already think it's theirs to lose as things stand. I know it's early, but I am going to say that because they're 9 points clear of us and 8 points clear of City. When we were 8 points clear, it was Arsenal's to lose. Don't bottle it. So I'm putting the pressure on Liverpool now. It's yours to lose. Don't bottle it, Liverpool. And I think if they beat Manchester City at Anfield, which they could do the way Man City are playing, they will go 11 points ahead. 11 points ahead of Man City, 13 games gone, and 9 points ahead of Arsenal as long as we beat West Ham and they beat Man City. Where do you see the title as things stand right now after this weekend? Chelsea winning, Arsenal winning, Manchester City getting hammered, and Liverpool today beating Southampton, not very convincingly, but getting the job done.
Listen, I'm going to say something now, and I'm not being bitter when I say this. I was watching that game today, Southampton, right? They were there for the taking today. Southampton had them by the old ghoulies, right? Yeah, and the goalkeeper comes out, running out. What the hell was he doing? Like, I mean, if it comes to light 10 years' time that he took a bung from Liverpool, you wouldn't go against it. You wouldn't take against it, would you? Because the first goal is a joke. The second one's even more of a joke, right? And then the handball is unbelievable. But listen, they're riding their luck. You deserve your little bit of luck. And that's how it goes. One thing I will say about this, I think this game next Sunday is massive. And I'll tell you why. Because as good as we were in those 2 seasons that we was playing against Man City, not last season, the season before when we was about 8 points in front, we had 2 opportunities to now put a nail in against Manchester City, and we didn't. If you remember, like we drew. We lost both games. We lost, I think, 3-1. Was it at home, and then we lost
4-1 at the Etihad. We got slapped. We played them twice that year because basically the game that was in September was cancelled because of the Queen's death, didn't it? And we lost at home to them 3-1. Then we lost away to them 4-1. And then the last season we beat
them. We didn't nail it. No. We didn't get the result. We didn't beat them when we should have done. 0-0. Yeah, but now they've got an opportunity now to really bang home a real nail in their coffin if he wants, like if they want. And it'd be interesting to see if they will do that. If Man City got anything about them, they'll get something from that game, I think. Right. But at this moment in time, the way things are going for Liverpool and that, they're riding a little bit of a luck. I'm not having a go at any Liverpool fans here. I'm not having a go at that. You earn your luck in football, so I'm not saying it is there, like, you know. And soon as that, I said they could lose this game today. As soon as that goalkeeper made that mistake, I said, Mark, they've won this game. I knew they was going to win that game from then on, like, you know. But that's how they got it, and that. I think at the end of the day, Arsenal have got to continue to keep winning and put pressure. If they are 9 points in front of Arsenal come Boxing Day, hold my hands up, it's done. That's fantastic, because they have got some real tricky games coming up. They have got Manchester City. I believe then they go to Newcastle. They've got Everton away, not easy games. I think they've got Tottenham coming up then, like, you know. And let's basically
Fulham and then Spurs, yeah.
Fulham and then Spurs. And let's face it, with Spurs, you just don't know what you're going to get there, like, you know. I'm going to be really honest yesterday, like, I really enjoyed the game last night with the Arsenal. I didn't enjoy that last night. Tottenham. I didn't enjoy it. You know, I can't have them winning games like that. Even though it's against Man City, like, you know, I did, you know what I mean? I didn't enjoy it, boy. I was out in the mill and it's going, it's 2-0. Oh, now it's 3-0. What I really wanted there was 2-2, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're thinking that they're going to win it and then they didn't. But listen, I don't know if it was you know, you prefer Manchester City to lose games at this moment in time. What do we want next week? Probably a draw, but you know, if it's a draw next week, we go above Man City. If we beat West Ham, you know, we can be actually above Man City, and that's what we've got to do, guys. We have got to beat West Ham, be above Manchester City, and then whatever happens. And at this moment in time, I do think that Liverpool have got a bad run in them, or a couple of games when they're going to be tough. St James's Park, as we know, is going to be tough there. You know, to go to Everton, you know, we know what Everton ain't great at this moment in time, but it's different for Liverpool than it is any other team.
Yeah,
and then you know, I mean, Spurs, I just don't know what's going to happen there with that one. And let's face it, you know, we're talking Spurs here, like, and they're playing Liverpool, so they probably want to lose that game. So.
If we beat West Ham, which, I mean, let's be real, we should be beating West Ham. Anything can happen. What do we actually want in this Liverpool Man City game at Anfield? Do we want City to beat them so Liverpool drop so we can catch up? Do we want a draw so we catch up with both, or do we want Man City to win it so that Liverpool to win it so that Man City look like they could be out of the title race for now? Like, what do we actually want? Like, here?
Personally, I want a draw.
Graham?
Yeah, I agree with Lee, a draw. The one thing I'll say is that this might see. I'm just trying to throw a bit of positive chink on the debate. I'd rather be chasing down Liverpool in the second half of the season than chasing down Man City. Do you understand what I mean by that? Yeah, because
totally agree.
Because Liverpool, and I think, you know, Liverpool led Man City. We talked about gaps. That gap we had was 8 points, but it was only 5 really, because it was 8 with a game in hand, right? I can remember '98. We won the league from 12 points back with Man United. Do you remember the season Benger's first league? So we won it in January from 12 points. It can be done. It can be done. And I just think Liverpool haven't been there for a while, have they? Where they've been at the front, winning the league. I just think, you know, I look at their games at the moment, and I'm watching Salah run through teams. I watch Saka every week, doubled up on, trebled up on, you know, and I watch Salah just literally running through teams where the defence is nowhere. What the hell's going on at the moment? It's almost like teams are gifting Liverpool goals. I'm not saying they are, but that's what it looks like. I just can't believe the goals that Liverpool are scoring. And I know Salah's a great player. I'm not saying he's not. But I just can't believe the way teams are playing against Liverpool. I think it needs teams to actually play Liverpool properly. It sounds funny, doesn't it, to say that? But I
Yeah.
watched Aston Villa the other week. They were totally gung ho against letting Liverpool run through them from corner kicks. Where that's how they conceded the goals. And I've seen that all season with Salah running through defences literally on his own. And I'm thinking, well, where's the bloody defence? So I don't think that's going to carry on. I think I would rather be chasing Liverpool. I do think the problem Man City have got, you've seen it. When Odegaard was out, how that affected us. Rodri is massive for them, and they've lost Rodri. That is a massive loss for them. Whatever you say, he's a massive loss. And also, look at their back line at the moment. Look at the amount of defenders they've had out over the last few weeks. I mean, and also, how often have you seen a Pep team where he plays a midfielder on the left wing? I mean, in the old days, he had wingers he could rotate. He's been playing that Nunez on the left wing. He's not a left winger. So it's strange. He's got so many, and he's been playing almost like a youngster at centre half, hasn't he? And because he's had so many centre halves out. So they've had literally so many injuries. And look at Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne has been suffering as well. He doesn't look fit to me, even though he's come back.
Look at Foden, Graham. Foden's been awful.
Foden. I mean, everyone goes on about the debate between Saka and Foden. Foden hasn't scored. Has he scored a goal in the Premier League this season?
Doesn't get no mention. I think you look at Declan Rice has got a lot of criticism because I don't think he's been a little bit jaded. I think Foden has as well. This is how I see it. Then I'm only saying scenarios at the moment, and so please bear with me when I actually say this. Like Liverpool versus Manchester City, Arsenal have beaten West Ham 0, Arsenal 3. Right, that's the scoreline. You know what I mean? We've gone through that game. Liverpool were to draw with Manchester City. Yeah, right. Their next game then is Newcastle away on the Wednesday night, So from Sunday they've got to play Wednesday. So if that's a draw as well, right? That's 4 points dropped, right? We beat Man United, hopefully, right? Then they go to Everton and just say that they do get a draw. That's 6 points dropped then, right? Still haven't lost, they're still unbeaten, but that's 6 points dropped,
No, they'll beat Everton, Lee. They'll beat Everton, won't they?
Yeah, I think they will, but Everton's a different game. Look at last season. I do think that they'll beat Liverpool.
It's how quick it can change is what you're getting at.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You know what I mean? All of a sudden you think, wow, what can happen here then? And then all of a sudden they're playing their next game is Spurs. I think they've got Fulham at home. They win that one. And then they were to lose to Tottenham. All of a sudden they've dropped 7-8 points in those games. You know what I mean? Now, if they go on and win them, you have to turn around and go fair play to them. I'm going to say if they come through that unscathed, you have to turn around and go, that ain't Arsenal bottling it. That ain't that. We've gone through a difficult spell and haven't overcome it, guys. So if they were to do that, you have to give credit where credit's due and say, well, fair enough, fair play. If you can beat Manchester City, you can go away to Newcastle, which we didn't do, and get a result there. You go away to Everton, your local rivals, and get a result. Credit to you. And all of a sudden, if they was to go win in their next 3 or 4 games, I'm holding my hands up and saying, wow, Liverpool, that's incredible.
Well, you think the league's over? There's still 22, 23 games to go.
I think that Liverpool, what I see today. And I'm not being delusional when I see that. I wasn't impressed with Liverpool today. I thought that they were outplayed at times by Southampton. You know what I mean? Just give them 3 goals, Graham. You can't give teams gift wrap 3 goals. They were struggling at 2-1 today when their goalkeeper come out in no man's land. Have you seen the goal? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. What was he doing? What was he doing as a goalkeeper? It was embarrassing, you know what I mean? And I'm going to be really honest, Salah was quiet, but he scores 2 goals, so I'm giving him credit, the penalty. And as for the penalty, what is he doing there, the centre up? What is he doing? I think that the first handball we might have got away with, but after, playing a banjo on it, I think, it was a definite penalty. You know what I mean? You just can't.
I don't like to agree with a Spurs fan, but Ronnie has made a good point in the chat saying he also hasn't been impressed with Arsenal. Now, I know yesterday you can say you have been, but over the season, 100%. This is where we're at. I think we're looking at Liverpool and thinking not that great. What's frustrating is City have crumbled. Liverpool ain't really that great. and they're 9 points clear, and Arsenal were struggling. They're thinking, I'm more pissed off that Arsenal ain't been that great. And I look at it now and I think, look, Graham's absolutely right. There's a long way to go. I don't really look at how many points are left to win, how many points are we behind, how many points are in front. I look at how we're playing. And right now, Liverpool are the ones that have impressed me the most. They haven't like scintillating, wow, no one's catching them. But you go, Arnie Slot is stood there and he looks relaxed. He looks chilled. He looks cool, calm, relaxed, collective. He looks like he's going to win the game. And they have. Every time I've watched Liverpool so far, I think they're going to pick up 3 points and they keep doing it. And that's a worry for me.
That is why, Dan, it's important to concentrate on ourselves at the moment.
Yeah,
beat West Ham, beat them convincingly and play well, beat Man United, beat Fulham, beat who's ever next after that, like Crystal Palace, is it like,
Everton.
Crystal Palace, get on a momentum run and we're looking good. Because Ronnie's right, what he's saying there, Arsenal haven't looked good. But if we was to go to West Ham, win 3-0, then come back at home against Man United, turn them over, then go to Fulham and win 2 or 3-0, then go to Everton and beat them 4 or 5, all of a sudden, form's a little bit different.
Agreed.
That is what Arsenal have got to do. And at this moment in time, they've done none of that. Only one game. And that's why I'm not going overboard about the one game against Forest. You know what I mean? Yes, it's a good start. It's a good base. Good foundation now to go on a run and start making games. And I reckon also it must be lovely if you're a Liverpool at this moment, seeing teams keep faltering every other week, whether it be Arsenal, Man City and all that. But if one of them gets on a run like they did against us, Manchester City, all of a sudden you're looking over your shoulder, you drop 2 points, you drop another 2. Oh my God, they're within one game of us now, like, you know. And if we can go to Anfield whenever it is in May and be knowing that if we win that game, we can go above them or whatever, we are still very much in it. At this moment in time, we're not. We're relying on Liverpool to drop points. But most importantly, as Ronnie is right, whether he's a Spurs fan or not, we have got to sort our own form out and our own performances. And if we do that, let's see what happens. And if Liverpool go on and win those games, fair play to them. But let's get our form right first.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to ask this question to close. I'm going to ask it to both of you. You've got £100. You've got to put it on a team right now as we stand on the 24th of November on a team to win the league. Where's your £100 going? Graham, I'll start with you. Then I'll come to Lee and I'll give you my call. What are you saying, Graham?
That's
horrible, isn't it? Horrible question.
I can't answer that question. Well, you'd have to say Liverpool favourites, wouldn't you? You have to say, if you're a betting man, you put it on Liverpool because they've got the lead. And Arsenal got to go to Liverpool as well. But it's too early to make those sort of assumptions. I think, I'm just thinking that Man City can't carry on being this crap, can they?
Yeah.
I mean, they just can't. So they will turn it around, and he will turn it around. Whether it's at Anfield next week or they will. You know what they're like second half of the season anyway. And at the moment, as Lee says, Liverpool are just winning every week, seeing everyone else dropping points. They're under no pressure. Let's see how they are when teams are on a roll, and then they start having the gap reduced slightly and see how that affects the team. And they haven't. They've been getting the results without playing well. Some people say that's a sign of a good team. But Lee's right. I've watched them a lot this season. They've won the games, but they haven't been convincing. What they have got is they've got goals right across their front line. They've got players they can rotate. When you can bring Diaz off the bench, and you've got Gakpo, you've got goals in Gakpo, Salah, Jota and Nunes. They've got goals in that front line, haven't they? And I think that's what they've got. Now, Man City at the moment, we've got Haaland not firing. We haven't mentioned that. Haaland has not been the striker over the last few weeks that we know. And that's coincided with De Bruyne not being fit and Rodri being out and the shaky defence. But answer your question, if you're saying to me, well, I'm going to put my £100, I'm going to have to put it on Liverpool, aren't I? Because basically they've got the lead. But I don't bet against Arsenal never, so I'll put it on Arsenal.
And this is the thing, that can change. On the 24th of November, I actually am going to put my money right now on Manchester City. But if Liverpool beat them at the weekend, I'm putting it on Liverpool.
But the other thing is, listen, do we? I know everyone's thinking, no, it's Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal. But if you look at the other teams, there's not many points between third place and 12th place. Chelsea, Tottenham are only 3 points behind us, and they can beat Man City, but they can lose at home to Ipswich, can't they? I mean, Tottenham are only 3 points behind us. Aston Villa up there, Newcastle have now come back into it. there's not a lot of points between the top 13, is there?
Chelsea got an unbelievable squad.
Yeah.
I tell you what, don't write off Chelsea at this moment in time, and I'll tell you why, because they haven't got the intense football every 3 or 4 days.
That's right.
They've got that Conference League with the squad they've got. They're going to be very, very fresh going into the final part of the season. Do not write them off. Write Manchester City off at your peril, because I tell you what, as poor as they were yesterday, like they could have been 3-0 up if Ireland had his shooting boots on. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so don't disguise the fact that if he does start it in a little bit of form, there you go. If Haaland was to go and get injured this week and go, then that I'm telling you that now, that will put them out of it. That will, why he's fit and he's on that pitch, they have still in my mind, still the team to beat. But I'm with you, Dan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if Liverpool beat City, I think then Liverpool would be favourites. Like, you know what I mean? So, and listen.
And that can change after January, after the window as well, Lee. You know what I mean?
Of course it can. And listen, if Spurs can go to Manchester City and win 4-0, right, then Spurs can beat Liverpool. They can beat Chelsea. Like, that'd be a really interesting game in a couple of weeks. Chelsea versus Tottenham at the London at Tottenham Stadium. By the way, that will be really, really an interesting game. There's teams now capable of beating teams in and around it. I didn't think there was so much last season. I felt that there was Arsenal and Man City, and then there was this massive gap. Liverpool have closed that gap and probably took over it, like, you know. But the likes of Tottenham, Newcastle this season have improved from last season. The one team that's dropped off and no one's saying about it, how great a manager he is Emery.
Villa.
You know what I mean? Like, Villa have fallen off a cliff. And the reason that being is because they cannot handle the competition of playing Saturday and then playing on the midweek and then the midweek and then the Saturday again. It is difficult. Now, Tottenham, by the way, have not had that at this moment in time. They've had the Europa League, but that will get intense for them after when it becomes normal proper football, when they have to go into the knockout stages and all that. Like, so it will be really, really interesting to see what happens. But I'm telling you this now, I'm worried about Chelsea. I'm worried about them because they've got a big squad and they haven't. They can play their second team and win the conference. You know what I mean?
I'm going to disagree with you slightly. I'm not worried about Chelsea. I still think the worst we can have is to come third. I'll tell you why. I think Chelsea have one of the worst goalkeepers in the league, and that is going to drop them points. I also don't think Chelsea have a striker. I know Jackson's doing well, but I don't think he's an Osimhen or a Gyökeres. I also think Chelsea defensively at times don't quite look as solid. I think their midfield is outstanding. I think Lavia, Caicedo and Palmer is probably one of the best midfielders in the league. I've got to say it. I think they're all ridiculously good. And for the next decade, they could be unbelievable at Chelsea if they stay there. But I don't think Chelsea will be title challenging this year. I do think they get top 4, and I think they'll be a hard team for teams to beat. But I think Arsenal should be. If we come behind Liverpool and Chelsea this year, I don't see how Arteta keeps his job. I'll just be real. I don't see how you can keep your job if you come behind.
The original super chat question you had, Dan, was if Liverpool win it, then where does that leave Arteta? So what's your view on that?
If Liverpool win it, I honestly don't look. It's really disrespectful thing to say because Liverpool have got a good side. I just don't know how Arne Slot can walk in and go, "This is easy, Mikel. I'll show you," and then Mikel stays. When Slot's had Chiesa bought, he's not spent 800 million. He's not spent 5 years trying to build a title winning side. He's just waltzed in and done it and got one over Pep. I just don't think we can. I think we just got to be ruthless and just go, "You've come third now," or whatever it be. And I don't think that's good enough. You've regressed. If he wins a trophy and he title challenges, he stays. Even if Slot wins the league. For me, if you win a trophy, that's successful. So if he goes and wins an FA Cup and he takes Liverpool and City, let's say, to the last game and we don't win it, I think he's safe. But if we come like outside, Slot wins it, we come third, let's say, and he don't win a trophy, I can't stick up for that. I can't defend him anymore. So we'll have to see where we are in May, though. But go on, Graham. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying we always talk about it as fans, don't we? Sort of like if he doesn't win it and Slot comes in and wins it, I don't see that sort of noise from the club. I still think they're wielded to Arteta, and he's just signed that new contract. But if Slot comes in and wins it, it's not going to be a great look for us, is it? The fact is that this was meant to be our year, you know, and it boils down to one thing. I know you guys have probably discussed it on your channel, that underwhelming window for me. The underwhelming window in the summer where we didn't address what we needed, and it's bit us in the arse, hasn't it? Because we talked about we haven't been great at the start of the season, but there's been mitigating factors, isn't there? There's been like players being sent off. I know part of that is self-inflicted. There's injuries. You know, we lost Odegaard, our key player. Saka's been struggling at times of injury. There's been, and then we've had a lot of very dodgy refereeing decisions go against us, you know, in games. So
I will say this, Graham, to add on to it. I will quickly say this. I think he's safe, whatever, Mikel Arteta. Yeah. So I don't see the point.
I just think, and also Ed is going at this time is a bit strange to me. But you know, the funny thing is that for 2 years he was building something, and this year everybody expected it to go to the next level, didn't they? And this was going to be his year, and it hasn't happened.
Instead of talking about Arteta, why are we not talking about how bad he's on Klopp?
Yeah, I've said this, Lee. How can I said this? Actually, you know what I said word for word today? I said to the lads, and like Liverpool fans won't like to hear this, but if Arne Slot waltzes in and makes Arteta look silly, he also makes Klopp look silly, you know, because this guy's had one title in 9 attempts. And Slot's walked in, bowled in, and gone, "Oh, I'll do it then. I know it's taking you now." Listen, Klopp's responsible for that team because he's left that team, right? But he's gone and picked the team that he could have won the title with and won it. First time of asking.
And I also think you're dead right. It will put a lot of pressure on Arteta because you can say, "Well, Arteta's had 3 hits at it and ain't won it. He's come in and get 1, so maybe it is time for a change." So I think it opens up a can of worms if he does win it. But I tell you what, you know what I mean? Liverpool weren't a bad side last year, and I think people forget about this. They was in the title race up until they lost to Crystal Palace at home and Everton away.
Last 5 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was in the same time as we were playing and we went for it, like, you know what I mean? When we lost to Aston Villa. They was there and thereabouts, 5 points in front of us when they come to the Emirates. 5 points in front of us, or what is it, March time they come to us in the Emirates, or whenever it was, or April time. So at the end of it, they're still a very, very good side. You know what I mean? Like,
the question you'll have to ask, though, Lee, the question you'd have to answer is, oh my God, Slot was too good, we couldn't beat him. And I don't think that's the right answer. I don't think that is the right answer. I think
if we lose the league this season, we don't win the league this season, I think Arteta's got to take a lot of blame for it because of the team selections. When we've got it wrong, he's got it wrong. Hands up, he's got it wrong. He's got it right this week. He's got to get it right against Newcastle. He's got to get it right every bloody time now, like, you know what I mean, and see if we can claw it back.
Yeah. Listen, we're chasing the back.
Let's see where we are in January. We'll have this conversation back in January.
And you know what? It will. I'm not even looking as far as January. I think we have a conversation before then. I think things are going to change very quickly. I'm not saying it's for go for Arsenal. It could get even further, but I think this season's mad. I didn't have Spurs beating Man City 4-0. No way did I have that. You know, did anyone think that Liverpool would be at Anfield against Forest and lose when we beat them at the Emirates? I didn't see that happening. So I think there's a lot that's going to change. I didn't see Arsenal being in this position. I didn't see Arsenal didn't have Arsenal down to win the league. I will say that. But I certainly didn't have us to be 9 points behind Liverpool for 13 games in or 12 games in. So a lot can change. Let's see. It's going to have to change.
Just quickly before you wrap up. So just coming back to that question, you asked the question for 100 quid. I went Liverpool. Where did you two boys go?
Man City.
And Lee, Man City as well?
No.
Who are you going for?
I'm going for the Arsenal, Graham. Like, I mean, come on. Let's have it. There's me £100. Let's have it.
Well, if you do want to follow Lee Judges, if you do actually, I looked today. If you do put £100 on Arsenal to win the league, then you lose £100. No, I'm joking, Lee. I'm joking. I'll be optimistic with you. Big up to you. Listen, Graham. First of all, man, thank you so much for coming back on, man.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a good chat. Enjoyed it, boys. Thanks for having me on again, and hopefully speak to you again soon. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. Lee, I'll let you have the last word. I'm not sure, mate. I've done all the super chats. Thank you all so much for your super chats, by the way. Big up to Suj and to Rosh as well, and to all of your comments as well. Lee, I'll let you say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, listen, I'm off to sunny Portugal tomorrow. See ya.